Okay, so we're heading to the Dollar Tree because I couldn't sleep last night. Sorry about my glasses. I couldn't sleep last night because I was having ideas of a new DIY. So I'm taking the dear hubby along with me so he can video me to show you what I'm gonna get, and we'll see if it'll turn out. But I'm pretty excited about what's stirring around in my head right now. We'll see. Okay, I'm hoping they have what I'm looking for. Come with me and I'll see. I love going into the Dollar Tree, and especially when it doesn't matter what season it is. I always look at things and try to figure out how I can turn them into something else. Like that, this would make a perfect gnome base. Yeah, I'll save that for another day, because today I'm on a mission. And I love to see things that have glitter or sparkles or shiny, like a, well, yeah, I won't sing, but I'm just saying, things that are shiny, I love it. This looks like it would make perfect wheels for my inspiration that came to me in the night. All right, they had everything I was looking for and then some. Woo! Let's go. Okay, here you're ready for it. Cinderella Coach. That's what I want to make with my special surprises from the Dollar Tree. And how I'm going to do this, I'm going to start off with my base, which is going to be the pumpkins, which they only have during the fall season. So I went ahead and gathered up a few of these because I have a few projects I want to do with these pumpkins, because they make perfect bases for, as I said before, a lot of different things, including a future gnome, but the gnome's not today. Now I'm going to use these paper towel holders to make my wheels. And I put these together and I realized, they're a little bit too wide. So I'm going to cut those down in a minute, and I'll show you how I do that. But basically I want my pumpkin to be up through the center. And I love this. I was just thinking it would be a fun center decoration for like a baby shower, or I don't know, it'll probably be a table decoration for me. And I'm just going to tape these together. And I love using the clear Dollar Tree tape. So it's not real fancy tape, but it's the shiny tape. It's pretty strong. And so I'm going to use that on all my projects today. Now I'm going to get my tissue paper. And I have to say, this is the first time I've ever done this. It's kind of like if I was making a piñata, the idea. And I really love the tissue paper because of the glitter and the white shimmery look of it. But, you know what? I can really just do this with scissors. I'm going to cut this. But tissue paper doesn't go well with the plaster that I'm going to make. But I will use it on the outer edge. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut this. But I realized the very first dip that, the tissue paper just tears apart. So it's going to be just for the outer edge. So I'm going to use regular white paper because I really want this pumpkin to be completely white. I'm doing everything white. Now you can do this with newspaper, and really newspaper works the best. I mean, that's the easiest to work with. So what you do is you start with 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of water, and then 1 tablespoon of salt, and mix it all together and make sure there's no lumps in it. As I was having my nighttime thinking of my next craft, which keeps me up at night, I came up with this idea. I thought, if the pumpkin frame was made with the metal so that it would have that pumpkin look, but then in order to cover the entire thing, why not use the same thing that I would make a piñata? So that's how I came up with this idea, and I wanted it to look white and shimmery and fancy. Now I'm going to show you why you can't just use tissue paper on the entire thing, because when you put tissue paper in the plaster, it falls to pieces and that doesn't work. So I just took regular copy paper. Now again, you could use newspaper for this, but because I wanted it completely white, I used copy paper. Probably would have been easier to use newspaper and then just paint it white. That's probably what I would do next time, because copy paper's a little bit too thick, tissue paper's too thin, newspaper's just right. But it works for me for this. Now, one thing that I did notice was using the metal frame as my form, it does need to have layers and layers. And I was just you want to get your plaster on both sides of your paper, and then you just put it on, and as I put it on the wire, I have it so that it folds back along itself, and I just keep on layering it on. I just keep on layering one after the other. I did have to let it dry in between. I actually used a hair dryer to help dry it so that it would hold it in place until I put the second layer on, and possibly even the third layer. But I love being able to have the frame of the pumpkin so you can see the lines where the pumpkin is. Once I get the entire pumpkin covered to a satisfactory level and it's halfway dry, I go ahead and put some of my plaster all over it, and then I'll layer some tissue paper over the top to give it that shimmery, glittery look. After you get it on, you want it to completely dry, and I'm kind of impatient. I want to see if I have enough there and if my plaster is going to dry white, so I go ahead and use a hairdryer, but you can just let it dry for a few hours. While you're letting the plaster dry, we can start working on the wheel well. Now I know that I need these cut down, so I'm just going to mark it so that it's the size that it needs to be to hold my pumpkin. So I'm just going to cut off the top pieces of all 4 of my wheelbase. So I'm just going to mark it with a marker and then use some wire cutters or pliers to cut this. Now, my dear hubby was not home when I was doing this, and it is a little bit hard to cut. So what I did was I just mark it, and then little by little, I get my pliers and start just going back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth until it starts to cut. If you don't have fancy wire cutters and you're just using pliers like I did, this isn't the easiest part, but just be patient and keep on going, and eventually it will cut off, and it's worth it. Okay, then I'm just going to line these together. Once again, I'm going to use my Scotch tape, and this is just to hold it in place until I put my gold around it. That will help hold it in place as well. So again, I'm going to use the clear Scotch tape, and I'll just tape it all around to hold it so it's nice and solid. You could use zip ties here. If you had those little skinny zip ties, that would work. But I just don't want it to show up. I don't want it to be bulky. So that's why I'm using tape. Now, one thing that I did off camera was I went ahead and put a coat of Mod Podge all across my pumpkin area because I wanted it a little bit stronger and shiny. Now, to hold my pumpkin in place, I'm going to put a couple of holes in the bottom, and then I'm going to use parts of the paper towel holder that I cut off to go into those holes and attach it to my wheelbase. And to attach the other side, I'm just going to use silver pipe cleaners. Now I could leave my wheels silver, but I decided I wanted them to be gold. And I have this tissue paper. It's not tissue paper. anyway, shiny paper that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut it down and wrap it around my wheels and tape it on with my fancy tape. As I started looking at my pumpkin, I realized, I wish it was a little wider and a little shinier. So after a little while, before I'm finished, I paint some white paint over it and more Mod Podge. Now, if I had this to do over again, I would have done that from the very beginning before I even put my wheels on. Forget about the white paper, just use newspaper, then paint the newspaper white and put Mod Podge over it. Save you a lot of time and effort, and it'll look shiny and beautiful. You can still add the white tissue paper, but after the white paint. White tissue paper, then Mod Podge. Sorry about the confusion. And of course, I didn't do that until later, so here I am putting on my gems. Now, these are the little diamond gems that you can get from the Dollar Tree. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. I will just say that whenever I see them, I grab a couple of bags because, yeah, they only have them some of the time, but I stockpile. So what I'm going to use here, it's called a little welder. I'll put a link below. I haven't been able to find this exact one because I got this years ago, but there's one that's very similar, and I'll put a link if you want to buy it off of Amazon. But I use this for so many things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to burn the tip of the diamond so that I can attach these to my wheels. Now you get an old rag and you have to wipe off, because these diamonds are actually plastic. So you wipe the plastic off of the little welder tool. It's called a welder, but it's not really welding. Just heats up. And then I love my Gorilla Glue hot glue gun, and I use the strong Gorilla hot glue for this so that it will really kind of set in place. Sorry, I'm off camera here a little bit, but I'll get back on camera on there in just a minute. Now, up and around my pumpkin, I love using these sticker beads that you get from the Crafter Square section of Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put those on, but you do need to hot glue them on as well. I went ahead and put them on with the sticker just so I could get the exact size that I needed, and then go back and add some hot glue because the stickers are just not strong enough to be able to hold this in place permanently. And I love using these border sticker things that you get. I believe it's in the Crafter Square section of Dollar Tree. And these two, they only have certain colors certain times. So I stockpile these two because I use these on so many crafts. They really make beading and gemming things up very simple and easy. So I love to get, they have different colors: white, silver, blue, gold. You just never know what color you might need. So I stockpile these too. I was running out and I realized, oh wait, no, I still have some from a previous project. So, oh, lucky for me. I love gems and I love the little diamonds. I use these on a lot of things too. And so depending on if I'm going to poke a hole through them, or in this case, I'm just trying to bend, melt it in so that I can glue these on the outer edge of my wheels. Now the wheels could have been left silver, or they could have been spray painted. I just really love the shininess of the foil gold paper. I painted my white Mod Podge off camera, and now I want to add some fun glittery edging so that it really helps to make the pumpkin veins pop out. So I'm just going to do a fine tip of Elmer's glue, and then I will add some glitter. And I pick up glitter and I stockpile it, and you can get glitter in the crafters square section of Dollar Tree. Now, of course, I'm going to recycle every bit of this. So after you put the glitter on, shake it off. Make sure there's paper underneath so that you can put it back in your bag. And there we go. My Mod Podge on my white part was just a little bit damp, so there was still some of the gold glitter tried sticking onto that. So I'll scrape that off in a minute. Now I'm going to do the door. Now realize this is my first time making this, and there was a little bit of a learning curve. And okay, so I put too much glue on. You don't want to have too much glue, or your glue tries to run and it takes forever to dry and it leaves bumps. So really, when you're gluing your door, when you're creating areas with your glue, put it on with a paintbrush so it's not so thick. The other thing that I did wrong here was I used pink glitter, and I thought it would look good, but it was really just too dull. So, another mistake, a little oopsie. I just scraped it off with an X-Acto knife, and I put a fancy blue glitter. Now, there's different styles of glitters that you can get from the Dollar Tree, but yeah, pick one that you love. Now, I did an outline for my door, and I actually did it on both sides. This fancy stagecoach has a door on both sides. So I'm going to go along with my little paintbrush and help brush off some of the gold glitter that I don't want. Then I'm going back to my stickers, and just like the upper edge, I'm going to go ahead and put these on the outer edge of the door. Now, I like to mark off with my finger exactly what length I need, and then I will cut them still on their packaging, and that just seems to be easier for me. And then I can get the stickers on, once again glued with my hot glue. It's fast and easy. I just love my little diamond gems, so I'm going to add them to the top of my pumpkin that has a little gold foil paper on it as well. And this is just about a wrap. What do you think? Isn't this cute? There's so many things that I can do with this. Just got to finish putting the gems on the bottom. Now the gems that go clear to the very bottom, I'm actually melting the spot up a little bit so that they're not hanging off the edge and getting popped off from the weight of the carriage. So just the very bottom gems will be melted out on the edge rather than in the center. Now here's a little trick. Whenever you're using a lot of hot glue or melting plastic, if you take a hair dryer and go over all the areas, there won't be any little hidden strings. It just kind of melts those little hot glue strings that look like little stray hairs. So I go over the entire thing with a hair dryer. And voila! Cinderella's carriage is ready for the ball. What do you think? Isn't this fun? I am ready to have a Cinderella party. I think everyone should come dressed up as, ready for the ball, and this will be the centerpiece around all the hors d'oeuvres. Or it could be a Cinderella baby shower, or, I don't know. Sky's the limit. This might just sit on a table in my living room for a while. I love it so much. Well, if you want to see more things like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you know anybody who might want to try to make a Cinderella carriage, share this out with them. This is my inspiration carriage that I found on Amazon, and that's how I came up with the idea. I'm loving it. What do you think? Not bad for supplies from the Dollar Tree.